on. There we go. We're here. We're going to turn this a little bit more that way. There we go. Long Island needs a drag strip. It's interesting what we got back there. All right. Interesting to me. The question is it interesting to you? Hmm. This is really the question. Well, we're talking about retirement, so who cares what's interesting to you? Really? How's that for the selfish statement of the day? I don't care what's interesting to you. It has to be interesting to me. And that, I think, is what retirement looks like. But if I was speaking to a fourth grader, and I didn't ask them what retirement would look like. I asked them what would they do in their free time. Hold on. Let's just stop right there. So, if somebody's going to retire, not a care in the world, they can do anything. What would you do? Hmm. If somebody's in fourth grade, they don't have a care in the world, what would they do? It's the same question. So, if that's the same question, and at my phase of life, no, I'm not looking to retire. not, not yet. Actually, I don't even know if I want to retire, come to think of it, if you really want to think about it, because if I really enjoy doing what I'm doing, well, then I'm having a good time. If I'm having a good time, getting paid for having a good time, what's wrong with that? And where were you? Where were you when I was in my growing years? Where were you when I was in fourth grade? Where were you when I was a teenager in high school? I don't even know where I was in high school, come to think of it. But that's a whole different topic. How they call it, yes. Now it's legal. No, a whole nother topic. Let's get back to seriousness here. What up, radio voice again? So where were you when I was 18 years old? Oh, guidance counselors of high school? Where were you when I went to college and I sat down with you and talked about class choices? Where were you when we spoke about moving? I went to Suffolk Community College. And I don't even remember. I do remember speaking to them about class choices. I don't remember speaking to them about what am I going to do when I graduate from Suffolk Community College with my associate's degree. I did go on to college, further college. I got a bachelor's degree from Oneonta. I got there. I only remember speaking to, and I don't think this is a reflection just on that school. I think it's a reflection on all of school. We'll get to retirement at some point in time. We do. Hopefully everybody does. Hopefully you do. The heck is retirement? Let's go back to college. Then we'll address the what is retirement. I don't drink anymore. Did have a cold slice of pizza the other day. Thank you, gentlemen. Those three guys who decided to tell me that, hey, don't want cold pizza for the three guys that are hungry. You just, they may take it from you. But where were you when I got to college? Oh, college people, prep people, or guidance people, or career people, or whatever you want to call yourself, people over in college. Where were you? Where were you when I went in there and I asked, hey, just going to date myself on this one. Where were you when I asked you, it's like, do I really need to pass that last class in order to graduate? They're like, no, you got enough credit. That's good. I took a class in COBOL. Oh, I bet you most of you in younger ages don't even know what the heck COBOL. It was a programming class. It was a computer programming class of COBOL. I was writing code. Well, I really wasn't writing code because I failed that class. So, no, I was not successful. I think I needed something around a 90 to get a D. Chances is pretty good that that was not going to happen. And that teacher, professor, instructor, I don't know, whatever the title was, darned if I remember, nothing in that class, obviously. Gave me an incomplete. Didn't fail me. Gave me an incomplete. Thank you, whoever you are, were, and the rest of that stuff. That was 40 years ago. So good chance that professor is no longer Maybe he is. Maybe not no longer with us. Who knows? You know. But anyhow, I got an incomplete. But where was that guidance counselor when I went in to go talk to them? Nope. Nope. Do I need the class? No, that was it. They answered my question. That was it. And I left. And I went. I was actually my birthday too. So I was like, okay, do I go take this class, this test? And I was going to fail it, just to fail it, or go out and enjoy the evening getting hydrated with my friend. I went for the hydration thing. So yeah, I was fully hydrated by the end of that night. Fully hydrated. I didn't take the class. But where were you? Let's get back to focus here. Where were you? Where were any of these people? My father had asked me what I wanted to do briefly. My uncle told me what I wanted to do emphatically. I followed I wound up in the industry that the two of them, were in, but it was funny how my uncle had more of an impact on me than anything else. And it wasn't when I graduated, it was actually between my last 2 semesters of school. Maybe we could take a look back on all those things I did in camp, summer camp, elementary school, high school. And it wasn't the class. Even college, it wasn't the class, was it? It wasn't the class. It was what I did in my free time that nobody asked me to do. I just did. Nobody asked me. And I don't know if you figured this out yet or not, but I not might I might not be the sharpest tool in the shed. To coin a phrase from somebody else in there that wrote that in the song. We'll give credit where credit is due. And it didn't dawn on me that maybe there's a career involved over here. It didn't happen that way. I followed in my father's footsteps and in my uncle's suggestion and did that whole thing. And my uncle had me do, in my last 2 semesters, I had a fun time doing it. But it was a portion of that career. It was a portion of that industry. It wasn't what it wound up being as I continued to move along, get promoted, find different opportunities, and all the rest of that stuff. Stuck with that adage though. Hey, no matter what it is you do, there's value in it. No matter what you do, there's enjoyment out of it. You got to find that piece of your day where you find that fun, where you go back at the end of the day and say, yeah, you know what? Today was a great day because during those 10 minutes, I found enjoyment. Well, now, maybe you could live with that. Maybe you had 10 minutes of fun, but a big paycheck at the end of the day. And that counts for a whole big picture. Maybe there's something you kind of need to do. Maybe you need to be in the family business for reasons other than enjoyment, pure fun enjoyment. Maybe there's reasons you need to do this because, hey, it's the family tradition. And I'm dedicated to that. And I want to see this family business continue on, even though it's not exactly my thing, because I want to move it on to the next generation. I want my son, I want my daughter, I want their children to have the opportunity of working in this business because it's the family business. Wasn't my case. In an industry that's everything, not the family business. That wasn't me, but maybe it's you. Maybe you find enjoyment that way. Perhaps that is. Hey, I give you credit, and I know it. I think that's fine, and I think there's a lot more than fun as enjoyment adding into that satisfaction equation. A whole bunch of different things to go into it. You got to make that checklist over there. What's good about this? Fun, rewarding, maybe it's money, maybe it's family tradition, maybe it's a sense of responsibility, maybe it's the value that you're providing. Or, I really don't like what I do, but boy, at the end of the day, when I get a chance to work with them, hey, and they really appreciate what I do, you know what? That makes it all worthwhile. Maybe that's your answer. Maybe it is. Maybe that's why you get involved in a nonprofit. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe everything. But that says you're in the middle of that whole career phase of stuff like that. What about retirement? What does retirement look like? I think retirement looks much more like and should look as much as possible like that fourth grade. What is it that you would do if money was no object, time was not a consideration, and other people's opinions didn't matter to you at all? That what's in it for me quote, with that calm, it didn't matter. That's an interesting scenario. It's not 100% realistic, because when we get further along, we collect all kinds of things along the way. All kinds of things. Hopefully, all those things we collect along the way are good things. Sometimes they are. Hopefully, they are. Sometimes they're not as good as what we might have thought they would have been. And we got other considerations to go along the way, you know? And then we have other responsibilities and things like that. And not everything's bad and not everything's good. Sometimes it just is what it is and it's what it is, that's fine. So retirement is not as free as it perhaps could be. It works within a whole bunch of constraints. This is one of those things that I think that's where I'm at with my stage of thing. And it's not so much as the retirement, it's the flexibility I got, knock on wood, with certain things. And that's kind of maybe where I'm coming from on that side of it. Maybe it's given the fact that nobody ever asked me, where were all these guidance counselors along the way? These career coaches along the way? Maybe schools don't even have them. Maybe they should. I spoke to somebody about that, and I was like, oh, it was nice, stuff like that. This became a question about these student loans being forgiven. Is it a good idea or a bad idea? Oh, it's a good, it's a bad. There's a whole bunch of different ways of looking at it. But look, if somebody wipes out $20,000 worth of debt with you, and that frees you up to be more productive, you want to know something? Hey, that's good. If somebody wipes out $20,000 worth of debt with you and you're still buried under another $100,000 worth of debt, does it help? Yeah. Is it a game changer? No. It's not. If we fix one piece of that puzzle, $20,000, and we don't fix the other side of it, why did it cost so much in the first place? Why did it go there in the first place? Did they help me continue on in my career? Not did they tell me if I need or don't need that last class to pass. Did they help me? There was a value in that. That becomes much more of a meaningful impact. Because look, if you spent $20,000, $100,000, $200,000 to learn something that you should have learned, that you needed to learn, wanted to learn, because it was really important for you to learn it, and you were making $200,000 a year, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, you're like, count me in. Sure, I'll spend 200 to make $500,000 a year the rest of my life. That makes sense. That's an investment in you. That's different, right? That's different. But it all begins with, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? So retirement, let's just go into that. We'll go back the other way too. But retirement, in some respects, it's like that. Would you want to do what you don't want to do, what you have been doing, you're not really finding it enjoyable the rest of your life? I don't think so. That gets to be annoying, doesn't it? It does. Do you have to do it? Maybe you do. And you know what? That's where we collect all kinds of things throughout our careers, throughout our lives, in different situations. Maybe we collect debt. Maybe we collect, different issues that we have to deal with. And you want to know something? You deal with them, and I hope that I can introduce you to and have, over the past, maybe in the future. Different people have been through different things that have found a way to work through that, even if they have to deal with it forever, like a chronic illness. Even if you deal with it forever, but deal with it in some sort of a positive manner. But there is humor in everything, appropriate, and there is benefits to not benefits, but let's phrase that a little bit differently. But good things can come out of bad situations, and that's absolutely, they certainly can. You know. So whatever that scenario is that you bring into retirement, you know, there is a point in our careers, in our lives, when we do have to ask ourselves those same questions that are asked of fourth graders, sixth graders, eighth graders, 10th graders, 12th graders. What do you really want to do? What do you really do that brings the most amount of enjoyment out of you? Then you can really sit down and have a conversation with them about, is there really a career out of that? And if there is, and they want to pursue that, and you have to go to college to do that, and pay for it, take out loans for it, and it makes sense, then man, go for that. That's great. If there's something you need to do, want to do, love to do, and a vocational program makes more sense out of that, then do that. And I really, for the life of me, have no idea why a trade school or a vocational school is considered anything different than a college education. Knowledge is knowledge. Knowledgeable learning that you're going to apply for you in a career that's going to help you advance and go different places. I mean, there's so many examples of that. I'm not going to give the one I always talk about. I'll go with cameras. How's that? Cameras. Matty Wash. Matty Wash shows up at some location. Matty Wash shows up at some location. He's got himself a camera. That camera costs a lot more than my camera. It costs about 5 times, if not even more than that, than my camera. He invested money in that camera. Does it make sense for him? He takes that camera. He's got a career out of it. That camera generates money for him. Does that make sense to do? Absolutely. I show up, I got a camera, it's much less money. But if I spend that same amount of money on the camera he's got and I start using it and I don't have a career out of that thing, does that make sense? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Me, I'm just spending money. He spent money on his career. What's the difference? If he goes to a professional photography school, a vocational school, and follows through with it versus going to a college and taking classes in the art of photography or something like that. I don't know. Whatever. Nothing. Nothing. Actually, I think he's much better off in trade school, and I have no idea what he did. But anyhow, much more than trade school. That stuff is great. It really is. But here's the thing, right? If I wanted to become a professional photographer, and I'm now 61, and it's going to take me thousands and thousands of photos to get good at it, really good at it, and that takes time. I'm not going to do that in a day. I'm going to take classes. And then I'm going to have to come back and learn that stuff. And I'm going to have to look for, wait for, create, identify opportunities for me to go out there and take those photos. And I've watched some of these videos. I want to be an animal photographer. What do I have to do? I have to sit out in the woods or sit by a stream or sit by a lake for hours on end to get a couple of photos to then come back and figure out what I did wrong. It takes a whole lot of time. I don't have the time for that. But if I was in high school, maybe I do have the time for it. Because, hey, that's something I love to do. And if I spent the time sitting out by a stream, by a lake, in the woods, on a fishing boat, a whale boat, or wherever, waiting for those photos, man, I love doing that. And I had the time to do it, and I didn't have those other responsibilities surrounding me to do it. That's different. That's definitely different. That high schooler has got the ability to create a career. Doesn't have all that other stuff surrounding it. Makes it a lot easier. So in my world, my way of thinking on this whole thing is that I think it's so unbelievably important for us to take that attitude as I'm getting ready for retirement. What do I really want to do? But I got this other stuff surrounding me that you got to do, and apply that question to our kids. Maybe it's our kids' kids, if that's the case. Or maybe it's you going out and speaking to high schoolers, speaking to elementary schoolers, maybe speaking to college kids too. Too many college kids, I think, are graduating with these degrees and then with just degrees and they don't know what they're going to do. Problem is, they've already gone through, gotten degrees, and spent money and all the rest of that stuff. Maybe that's where they've accumulated all of this debt for basically no reason. So my thinking here is the sweet spot with that conversation is actually at middle school. Fourth graders, we could talk to them and the rest of that stuff, and I really enjoyed speaking to that class, and I learned so much by speaking to that class. Where are they going to go with that? Maybe it's a little too early, but they're doing the stuff that they said that they were doing. Will they remember that there's a possible career out of it? I don't know. Hopefully, the teacher that was in the room remembered there was a possible career out of it. Hopefully, the teacher in that room kind of stressed with those students said, hey, maybe you should write that down. Maybe they do. Maybe they do keep a diary. Maybe they do keep a little notation of that. Things that I really find impactful to me. That would be wonderful. But as we get a little bit older, all of a sudden we start thinking. They will start thinking about it. Seventh grade, am I wondering about it? Probably not. Maybe you got a proactive parent to do. Maybe, hopefully, there's a proactive guidance counselor involved there someplace. Maybe religious institutions asking about it. And then when somebody else comes in, it's like, hey, what are you doing this free time? What do you do that you really enjoy doing? Do you think there's a career in there? Yeah, now all of a sudden, maybe it becomes a little bit more relatable. That's where the whole picture really starts to come together. If that student is thinking about it, that parent brings it up, the guidance counselor brings it up, and then you bring it up as an outsider. Outsider is so important. An outside person share that thought because all of a sudden you give a lot of validity to those other people that are supposed to say it. Oh, mom, dad, come on, I know. You want the best for me and all the rest of that, and I know. Yeah. All right, ignore our parents who we become our parents. Guidance counselor. You meet with me once a year. You want me to listen to you? Come on. Your career days, we're there for 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes if you're sitting down in one of the rooms, with some of the breakout sessions, depending upon how it's set up. Maybe that person doing the announcements in the front will have some sort of an impact on you. Maybe. Hopefully, hopefully that person does. But hearing it from those outside people, I think really makes sense. So that's why I really think these career days are really, really terrific. And there is another one coming up in October if anybody's interested in participating in that. Let me know. Direct message. So let's get back to what about retirement? What should it be? You know what? Maybe for some of us that need to work and continue working on forever and ever, you know what retirement is? Still working, but now working at something or in an industry, someplace that you really want to be. Or really taking what you got at that company and playing that entrepreneurial role, right? And taking that position you're in and saying, here's what I'd like it to look like. Not today, but to kind of mold it forward. Maybe you're at a company that you could do that, where you could actually change your role around a little bit more. And say, look, I mean, at some point in time, I retire and look at things differently. Here's what I'd like to do, right? I'd like to start mentoring somebody. I'd like to mentor somebody into my role and really let them understand what it is, and, figure out whatever salary needs to figure out the rest of that stuff. Or maybe you even take on additional responsibilities that are a little bit beyond the role, but something that you really want to do. Maybe you want to go out and communicate more and more with the employees, more than what you normally do, and you can shift some of that paperwork stuff to somebody else when you're doing more of the communication stuff. Now your role is you're rolled in a bit, but you've now taken on somebody that's going to really fill in for you. Not fill in for you, I'm sorry, compliment you in what you do. That might be a very fun, rewarding, income-oriented way of retirement. You're not really retired, but you are taking that fourth grader attitude and doing what it is that you really want to do. Maybe not in your free time, but your compensated time, and make it work that way. So there we go. Yeah, I know. My wife's up here. She's right. I'll put that up. My wife, yeah. Looking forward to retiring, although she knows I never will. And she's right. My aim is not to ever really retire. It really is not. I don't know what I would do if I was home and just home and not involved in something. It's just not in my blood. It just is not. I think I'd be bored to tears. I don't golf. I don't do those kind of sports or anything like that. I don't know. I enjoy the microphone. I enjoy the flexibility of the whole thing. So that's it. That's truly what I want to continue on doing. And the stuff I do right now from an income standpoint, I truly enjoy. So there's no qualms about that. But the more and more I could adapt things to a way that I'm just flat out really loving what I do and getting compensated for it, hey, that's a beautiful thing. You know, when you wake up on a Monday morning, and we'll leave you with this note here. Thanks, Kat. I'm going to leave you with this note and this question. You wake up on a Monday morning. This is when you work a 9 to 5 job. But anyhow, you wake up on a Monday morning. What's your first thought? Monday? Hey, it's Monday. I can get myself together, or I've got myself together. What are you thinking of? That might answer your question as to whether or not you're doing the right thing for you. And then the question, when you go into your retirement, whatever that might look like, is it really what you want to be doing, or how you are doing what it is that you are doing? And can you change that to a way that really works for you, your partner, your family, your situation, maybe your employer too? Maybe they have stuff that they'd like to accomplish. They don't really know how to go about doing it, and they don't want to ask you to take on more of a role. And maybe you're going to give them the opportunity to voice their thoughts and allow you to take on more of a role with getting somebody in that's complementing what it is that you're doing. And then you can accomplish a whole lot more. And that's what I'm hoping to do. And I hope you do it too. Keep accomplishing more and more as you go through. Do it smarter and smarter, and do things as you possibly can with more of a smile on your face whenever you're doing whatever it is that you are doing. And that, my friend, is definitely the key to it all, is not. And you know what you're going to wind up doing that? You're going to wind up speaking well. You're going to wind up speaking often. And you're going to wind up living very, very inspired. And you will not only inspire others, you're going to drag them along with you. That is a beautiful thing. Have a great day. All right, let's get the band. We need new music here. Let's get the band. Rock, let's go. Acoustic cinematic. How's that? No, it's a little too wishy-washy. What are you going to think we're going to talk about tomorrow?